After working overtime for weeks, I bought my sister the phone she always wanted, dreaming she would be happy. But she barely said thank and went back to talking with friends. And that was the day I learned some people value strangers more than family. I'm writing this because I need someone to know what I did. What I destroyed. What I away for absolutely nothing. It started with my sister Emma. 22 years old, still living at home, still expecting everyone else to solve her problems. She'd been complaining for months about her cracked phone screen, dropping hints like grenades every family dinner. I can't even take decent photos anymore. All my friends have the new iPhone. I'm embarrassed to pull this thing out in public, so I worked overtime. Double shifts at the warehouse, weekends loading trucks until my back screamed. Sarah, my fiancée of 3 years, barely saw me for 6 weeks. I'd come home exhausted, fall into bed, and she'd already be asleep. When she tried to talk, I'd mumble something about, just a little longer, it'll be worth it. The phone cost me worth 200. Every penny I'd saved for Sarah's engagement ring upgrade she'd been eyeing. But I told this was different. This was family. I wrapped it perfectly. Drove to my parents' house on a Saturday morning with this grin on my face, imagining Emma's reaction, the hug. The tears. The oh my god are the best brother ever. She opened it while scrolling Instagram on her old phone. Cool. Thanks. That's it, 2 words. Then she went right back to her screen. Typed about weekend plans that didn't include thanking the guy who just spent 6 weeks breaking his back for her. My mom tried to smooth it over. She's just surprised, honey. Know how teenagers are. Emma's 22. I sat there for maybe 10 minutes watching her ignore the brand new phone sitting on the table while she kept using the broken one she'd been complaining about. When I finally got to leave, she didn't even look. That's when I texted Melissa. Melissa from accounting. Melissa who'd been leaving little notes on my desk. Melissa who'd asked if I wanted to grab drinks sometime, about 50 times over the past year. Melissa who I'd always politely declined because I had Sarah, but sitting in my car outside my parents' house, watching my sister through the window as she finally picked the phone I'd killed to buy her, just to take a selfie and immediately put it back down. I felt something break inside me. I was tired of being the good guy. Tired of sacrificing. Tired of caring more about people than they cared about me. Hey, still want to get that drink? I typed. She responded in 30 seconds, heart emoji and all. Sarah was at her book club that night. She'd invited me weeks ago, but I'd said I was too tired from all the overtime. Another lie, wasn't working overtime anymore. Emma had her phone. My sacrifice was complete and apparently meaningless. Melissa picked a bar across town, somewhere Sarah would never go. I told it was just one drink. Just venting to someone who'd actually listen. Someone who'd appreciate the gesture. 3 hours later, we were in her apartment. I won't describe what I felt. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It wasn't passion or connection or some great romance I'd been missing. It was just empty. Mechanical. Wrong, but I did it anyway. Drove home at 2 a.m. with the taste of regret burning in my throat. Sarah was asleep, trusting and beautiful and completely unaware that the man she'd agreed to marry had just torched everything good in his, because his sister didn't say thank enthusiastically enough. The next morning, she made me coffee and asked about Emma's reaction to the phone. I lied, told her Emma was thrilled. Sarah smiled and said she was proud of me for being such a good brother. I wanted to disappear into the floor. But I didn't confess. Instead I started building the wall, becoming distant, critical, finding fault in everything Sarah did so I could justify what I'd done, so I could make it her fault somehow. 3 weeks later Melissa texted me a photo, a pregnancy test, 2 pink lines. I stared at that photo for 20 minutes in my work truck. 2 pink lines that might as well have been a sentence for everything I thought mine was going to be. My first thought wasn't about Sarah, wasn't about how I destroyed the trust of the woman I claimed to love. It was pure selfish panic. How was I going to explain this? How was I going to fix this? How was I going to make this go away? Melissa was calling now. Over and over. I let it ring. I drove to the same bar where it all started, ordered whiskey and tried to think. Sarah thought I was working late again. Another lie in the growing pile. I'd become someone I didn't recognize, someone who lied as naturally as breathing. The bartender was the same guy from that first night with Melissa. He remembered me. Gave me a knowing look that made my skin crawl. I realized with horror that to him, I was just another cheating husband drowning his guilt at the bottom of a glass. Melissa showed anyway. Tracked me down like we were in some kind of relationship. Like what we'd done meant something beyond mutual destruction. We need to talk, she said, sliding into the booth across from me. She looked different. Older. The playful accounting girl who'd left cute notes was gone, replaced by someone harder. Someone who'd been through this before. I realized. I wasn't her first married man. I was just another notch in a belt I'd been too naive to see. I'm keeping it, she said without preamble. No discussion. No. What do you think? Just a statement that blew my world apart. Melissa can't. We need to think about this. I'm engaged. I'm getting married in 8 months. Sarah has the dress picked out. The venue is booked. Her family. She laughed. Actually laughed. Should have thought about that before followed me home that night. Should have thought about precious Sarah when we're taking my clothes off. She was right. God help me, she was completely right. But I kept talking anyway, digging the hole deeper. I'll help, financially, whatever need. But I can't. Sarah can't know about this. It would destroy her. It would destroy her whole family. Already destroyed her, Melissa said. Just haven't told her yet. She left me with a lawyer's business card and an ultimatum. Tell Sarah or she would. I had 1 week. That week was on Earth. Sarah planned wedding details while I sat there nodding, knowing every word was meaningless. She showed me flower arrangements and talked about her honeymoon and asked my opinion on centerpieces while I died inside. I've been so quiet lately, she said one night. Eyes work stressing out. No, don't have to pick so much overtime anymore. Emma got her phone. Can slow down now. Emma the phone. The thing that started all this. I'd driven by my parents' house 3 days ago. Saw Emma through the window, using her old phone again. The new one I destroyed to buy her was charging on the counter, forgotten. She'd probably already moved on to wanting something else. I'm fine. I told Sarah. Just thinking about the future, my cheek. I can't wait to be wife. I excused and in the bathroom. Day 6 came and went. I couldn't do it. Couldn't form the words that would end everything. Day 7 was a Saturday. Sarah was making pancakes, humming some song from the radio, domestic and perfect, completely unaware that her world was about to implode. My phone buzzed. Times I'm calling her in 1 hour. My Sarah looked from the stove. Who's texting so early? Work, I said automatically. She frowned. On a Saturday. Before I could answer, my phone rang. Sarah's ringtone. But Sarah was standing right in front of me. I looked at the screen. It wasn't Sarah calling, it was Sarah's phone, but someone else was using it. Hello, I answered. Is this James? A voice I didn't recognize. Calm. This is Detective Martinez with the police department. I'm calling about Sarah Chen. The pancake spatula clattered to the floor. What happened? Sarah rushed to me, fear flooding her face. Sarah, there's been an accident. Miss Chen was involved in a collision this morning on Highway 287. She's being transported to Memorial Hospital. But she's right here, I said stupidly, looking at Sarah standing inches away from me. Sir, I think there might be some confusion. Are we talking about the same Sarah Chen? 26 years old, drives a blue Honda Civic. My legs gave out. That was Sarah's sister. Little Sarah, 16 years old, just got her license. Borrowed her big sister's car to drive to her weekend job at the coffee shop. Oh God, Sarah whispered, understanding flooding her face. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. The detective was still talking, giving us hospital information, but all I could think was what kind of monster worries about his own secrets when a 16-year-old girl might be dying. But that's exactly what I was thinking. As Sarah fell apart in my arms, as we rushed to the hospital, as her parents met us in the waiting room with tears streaming down their faces, part of me was still calculating, if little Sarah didn't make it, would this tragedy overshadow everything else? Would Melissa's ultimatum seem petty in comparison? Could I use this family's grief to hide my own sins? What kind of person thinks like that? The kind of person who cheats on his fiancée because his sister didn't say thank properly. Little Sarah survived. Broken ribs, collapsed lung, 3 surgeries, but she survived. I spent 4 days at that hospital pretending to be the supportive fiancé while my phone buzzed with increasingly hostile texts from Melissa. Sarah held my hand in the waiting room, thanked me for being her rock, told her parents how lucky she was to have someone like me. Her father shook my hand and said I was already family. I wanted to crawl into the hospital bed and... On day 5, while Sarah was in the cafeteria getting coffee for her exhausted mother, Melissa walked into the ITU waiting room. She was showing now. Just barely, but if knew what to look for, could see it. The slight curve under her loose sweater that announced to the world what I'd done. Time for plan B, she said, settling into the chair next to me like she belonged there. Not here, I hissed, looking around frantically. Not now, her sister almost died. And my baby is going to need a father who acknowledges its existence. She back. I'm done playing games, James. I'm done being dirty secret. That's when Sarah walked around the corner, 2 cups of coffee in her hands, and saw me sitting with a pregnant woman she'd never met. The coffee cups hit the floor. Sarah looked between us and I watched her brilliant mind piece it together in real time. The way Melissa's hand rested on her stomach. The familiar way she'd sat down next to me, the guilt written across my face in letters 10 feet tall. Sarah. I started, but she held a hand. Don't. Her voice was steady, but I could see her trembling. Just, don't. She turned and walked away, didn't run, didn't scream. Just walked away with the dignity I'd never deserved. Melissa watched her go and shrugged. Well, that's one way to do it. I wanted to hit her. Actually wanted to hit a pregnant woman because she'd just destroyed the last good thing in my... That's who I'd become. Instead I followed Sarah. Found her in the parking lot, sitting in her car staring straight ahead. Let me explain. I said through the passenger window. She rolled it down an inch. Is she pregnant with baby? Yes, but... The window went back. I stood there in the rain, banging on the glass like a maniac, begging her to let me explain something that had no explanation. Security eventually came and escorted me away. Sarah didn't come home that night. Or the next night. I found out later she'd moved back in with her parents temporarily, sleeping in the same hospital chair she'd been living in while her sister recovered. Her mother called me on day 3. Need to come get things, she said. No emotion. Just business. Sarah asked me to tell that the engagement is off. She's keeping the ring to sell it. Says she'll need the money now that she's starting over. Starting over. Like our 3 years together had been erased. Like all our plans and dreams and shared jokes and late night conversations had never happened. I packed my stuff while her father watched from the doorway. This man who'd welcomed me into his family, who'd trusted me with his daughter's heart, just stood there in silence as I loaded boxes into my truck. As I was leaving, he spoke for the first time. Know what the worst part is? She still defends. Says must have been going through something, that it's not entirely fault. That girl would find an excuse for even after destroyed her. He was right. Even in the text messages she finally sent, she was trying to understand. Asking if I was unhappy, if there was something she could have done differently, if our relationship hadn't been what she thought it was. She was trying to take responsibility for my betrayal. I wanted to tell her the truth. That she was perfect. That she'd done nothing wrong. That I'd thrown away the best thing in my because my sister was ungrateful and I was weak and selfish and broken. But I couldn't even give her that honesty. Instead I let her think she'd somehow failed. The wedding venue called about deposits. Sarah's friends called asking what happened. Her coworkers sent concerned messages. Our shared friends picked sides and I lost every single time. Melissa and I tried to make it work for about 2 months. Tried to build something real from the wreckage of what we'd done. But can't build a foundation on betrayal and lies. Every conversation was poisoned by how we'd started. Every tasted like guilt. She miscarried at 12 weeks. I should have been devastated. This was the baby that had destroyed my engagement, scattered my to the wind, cost me the only woman I'd ever truly loved. I should have felt something. I felt nothing. We broke the next day. She moved to another city, got a job with a different company. Disappeared from my as quickly as she'd entered it. That was 2 years ago. Sarah got married last month. I saw the photos on social media before I blocked everyone we used to know together. She looked radiant, happy, free. Her husband looks like a good man. The kind of man who wouldn't throw away 3 years of love because his sister didn't perform gratitude correctly. The kind of man who deserves someone like Sarah. I live alone now in a studio apartment across town. Work the same job. Come home to an empty room, repeat. I haven't dated anyone since Melissa. Haven't even tried. What would be the point? My sister Emma got engaged last month too. To some guy she met online who bought her a ring bigger than the one I'd given Sarah. She called me to share the news, bubbling with excitement. She gushed, "He's amazing. He treats me like a queen." "That's great," I said. "Oh, and James, thanks again for the phone, I still use it all the time." "No, she doesn't. I drove by my parents' house last week. Saw her through the window with a different phone, newer model. Probably a gift from her fiancé. The phone I destroyed my for is probably in a drawer somewhere forgotten, but I can't blame Emma. I can't blame Melissa. I can't blame anyone, but I had everything. A woman who loved me unconditionally, who trusted me completely, who was planning to build with me a future full of possibilities and joy and shared dreams. And I traded it all for one night of meaningless revenge against a universe that had disappointed me. The thing is, I keep waiting for rock bottom. Keep thinking there's some lower place I haven't reached yet, some final lesson that will make this all mean something. But this is it, this is rock bottom. Sitting alone in a room that feels like a coffin, watching the woman I loved marry someone else, knowing that every single piece of happiness I lost was torn away by my own hands. I tell this story because I need someone to know how easy it is. How one moment of selfishness, one decision made in anger and disappointment, can destroy everything good and forever. I tell this story because maybe someone else is sitting where I was sitting 2 years ago, feeling sorry for themselves, feeling unappreciated, feeling like the world owes them something. Maybe someone else is about to text the wrong person because their sister didn't say thank the right way. Don't. Because once crossed that line, there's no going back. There's no fixing it, no explaining it away, no making it right. There's just this, an empty room, a broken and the knowledge that had everything in it away because confused disappointment with justification. The worst part isn't the loneliness or the regret or even watching Sarah be happy with someone else. The worst part is knowing that I'm exactly the kind of person who deserves to end here.